I deserve a vacation. Send $8,000 for my cruise, my sister texted after I had paid her rent, bought her a car, and covered her tuition. I almost sent it until an anonymous letter arrived, showing her laughing. He never says no. That's when I replied with one word, no, and locked everything. Within hours, the family chat exploded. My sister called 27 times. I stayed silent, because that morning, a second letter arrived with a name attached. Have you ever woken up feeling like an automated teller, dispensing kindness and cash to those who claim to love you most? Imagine discovering they weren't just taking. They were betting on your inability to ever utter a simple no. They were turning your unwavering loyalty into a high-stakes game. My name is Noah. I'm 33, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the family's human help desk, the last one standing, folding chairs after every gathering. In our family chat, my contact is literally saved as Noah Logistics. My life revolves around a dented hatchback, 2 overflowing toolboxes, and a spreadsheet so vibrant it could shame a kindergarten art project. My 6 a.m. runs aren't for joy. They're a desperate attempt to carve out a moment for myself before the world, before my family inevitably demands a piece. For years, I heard the same descriptions: steady, dependable, just background. Then there's Leia, my sister. She's 29, and she navigates life as if a spotlight follows her every move. Mom, bless her heart, always says Leia's building a brand, a pronouncement delivered with the same reverence other mothers reserve for a child finishing grad school. Leia's a master of angles, fluent in affirmations, and her social media feed is a parade of beige quotes, her initials tastefully rendered. She dons new jackets that perpetually look chic but never quite warm. Stress, for Leia, is the work of transformation, and naps are non-negotiable healing. Ask my dad about me, and you'll get a succinct "no is solid." Ask about Leia. His face transforms, glowing. Leia is special. That's always been our family's foundational myth. The gold child, and me, the concrete child. Last Sunday, our simple family dinner predictably swelled into a full-blown production. It always does. Mom, ever the orchestrator, asked for Q4 intentions. Dad, oblivious, blasted music from a tiny speaker. Aunt Patrice arrived with her legendary cheesecake, sans serving knife, of course. I found a knife. I wiped the counters. I coaxed the stubborn toaster back to life. Leia, as if on cue, swept in late, her scarf a vibrant banner, kissed Mom's cheek, and declared, "Everyone breathe in abundance." A performance both joking and utterly serious. She then extended her empty water bottle. "Can you fill this with filtered tap?" "Noah? Regular tap makes me puffy." We ate, the conversation orbiting Leia's latest ventures like satellite dishes, collaborations, retreats, a leadership cruise. These were discussed with the gravitas of global affairs, immense and beyond our humble influence. When I quietly offered that my supervisor had offered me more hours, Dad simply patted my shoulder. "Proud of you, son," before instantly pivoting. "Can you look at the printer upstairs? It's doing that thing again." Aunt Patrice then clinked her fork against her glass. "To Leia," she announced, beaming. "Our star." Everyone cheered. I naturally cut the cake. Leia, ever conscious of her aesthetic, angled her plate toward a lamp. "Can we move these shadows? Every movie needs a grip." Aunt Patrice turned to me, a sweet, unthinking smile on her face. "You're a grip, Noah." It wasn't meant to wound. It was simply a label, firmly applied. Later, I wrestled that dead printer onto the kitchen table, its guts exposed. Inside, I extracted a paper jam thick as a deck of cards. Leia, casually leaning against the doorframe, scrolling through her phone, remarked almost to herself, "You always know how to fix things." Occupational hazard. I grumbled, my hands already stained black with toner. I drove home through a city where streetlights flickered like forgotten thoughts. My apartment above a laundromat thumped a tired, rhythmic beat. The moment I pushed open my door, a pristine white envelope, no stamp, just Noah printed on a label, slid from the gap. Inside, a single, stark line, centered, "He can't even say no." I stood in my kitchen, coat still on, reading it thrice. The paper felt impossibly heavy. The hallway was empty, the stairwell silent. I placed it beside my budget binder. A prank, I told myself, a weird neighbor. I meticulously re-washed a mug I just cleaned. At 11:42 p.m., the family chat pinged. Leia had posted a beige square. Let it be easy. Mom replied with a cascade of stars. Dad, a thumbs up. I locked my phone, flipped it face down. Sleep wouldn't come. That brutal sentence was branded onto my eyelids. At 6:12 a.m., I ran my usual loop, cataloging sidewalk cracks. Returning, another identical envelope lay beneath my door. Same label, same unsettling weight. I picked it up, but I didn't open it. Not yet. That thread, you see, it didn't begin with those unsettling envelopes. It began years ago, with a used car lot smelling of stale coffee, and a salesman who called everyone sweetheart. Leia, then 24, was fleeing a toxic roommate situation. Mom, ever pragmatic, declared the city unsafe for late-night Ubers, which were also too expensive. We should get her something reliable, Mom suggested, her tone as breezy as asking for eggs. We found a 2012 dark blue Civic, 89,400 miles, AC that whined like a banshee at full blast. I wrote the check, $10,200. Then came the insurance, $123 a month, just until she's steady. Mom hugged me as if I'd donated a vital organ. Leia, meanwhile, posed with the keys, her caption, "Mobility equals freedom," tagging me in a minuscule font lost amidst a flurry of hashtags. Tuition was next, not for a degree, mind you. This was a 12-week branding cohort in a co-working space plastered with neon hustle signs. Cost, $1,800. This is the room where it happens, she declared. I paid. I bought her a $52 ring light, a $119 annual Canva Pro subscription. I added her to my phone plan because hers kept getting disconnected for billing complications, $45 a month, then $57 when her lives demanded more data. Rent, initially a drip, soon became a torrent. Just this month morphed into the landlord is predatory. I wired $600, then $800, then $1,200, more times than I care to tally. A dedicated tab in my spreadsheet grew. Leia's support, dates, amounts, notes. Parking ticket, $73. Headshots, $240. Domain name, $18. A community dinner with poetry by someone named Sparrow, $85. Emergency dentist, $380. The totals accumulated a quiet, growing weight in a pale yellow cell. The small humiliations piled up. At the DMV, Leia pushed the clipboard in my hands. Forms give me hives, she declared. She then asked if a palm tree air freshener would compromise the vibe. When the clerk asked who owned the car, I simply said I did. It was easier, faster. On the way home, Leia recounted a podcast that had revolutionized her nervous system. The host, Marin Vale, preached the ledger, a philosophy of boundaries as a lifestyle, emblazoned on beige tote bags. The ledger says we teach people how to treat us, Leia announced, as if she'd just discovered gravity itself. She promptly bought the tote. That Thanksgiving, Aunt Patrice, ever the loyalist, clinked a glass to Leia, who was building something brave. Everyone cheered. I carved the turkey. Mom whispered conspiratorially, "We invest in the child who needs it most." When I mentioned my mortgage rate had jumped, Dad merely patted my shoulder. "You're tough, Noah." I kept paying. When Leia's laptop died mid-edit, I sourced a refurbished one for $640. When her gym job demanded on-brand leggings, I covered $92. When her home office needed aesthetic storage, I bought 3 boxes for $45. Each pivot, from content strategist to creative coach to digital community lead, came with its own costs. A $160 workshop, a $39 template pack, a $14 coffee with a founder. "I'll pay you back when my brand stabilizes," she'd promise. Always warm, always sincere, always later. In our family chat, HQ, my name was synonymous with logistics. Noah, Dad's refill. Noah, HDMI. Noah, 6 a.m. shoot for Leia? Yes, yes, yes. Saying yes was always quicker than the inevitable argument. Last month, Leia secured a part-time gig at a wellness collective, notorious for its annual leadership cruise. The prior year's photos were inescapable. Yoga mats on sun-drenched decks, champagne in gleaming silver buckets, sunsets that looked unnaturally filtered. Leia's eyes would transform into tiny suns when she spoke of it. "This is the expansion," she declared. "This is the room where the ocean meets my future." Then Mom FaceTimed me, her voice serious. "We're so proud of Leia," she began, pulling the camera so close I could count her pores. "She's been selected for the leadership cruise." Leia slid into frame, hair impossibly shiny. "I deserve a break," she announced, "after everything." "How much?" I asked, because wasn't that my designated role? "It's not about that," Mom insisted, "but always was." 800, I offered, feigning ignorance. Mom snapped, quick as tearing off tape, 8,000. It covers everything. She'll be reimbursed later through brand partnerships. It's an investment. I glanced at my own reflection in the corner of the screen. That dead printer still sat on my table, awaiting a part. The first envelope, the one I hadn't opened yet, waited on the counter like an uninvited guest. "I need to think," I heard myself say. "Don't overcomplicate, Noah," Mom countered. "Sometimes you just step into faith." I ended the call, then scrubbed my kitchen with the intensity of someone being graded. My spreadsheet opened, a new line added. Cruise, $8,000 request. In the notes, I typed reimbursed later. The cell turned a violent orange, a color I hoped to avoid looking at. The second envelope, unopened, still lay there. My fingers trembled as I tore it open. Inside, a single page, 3 stark lines of text, and a square QR code at the bottom, like a sinister ticket. Asterisk, you don't owe anyone your whole life to be loved. If you want proof, scan the QR. Trust that you already know. Asterisk my thumb. Hesitant, scan the code. A vertical video instantly played. Leia and 2 friends gathered around a pristine kitchen island, a bowl of bright oranges in the foreground. Leia smiled, a practiced, flawless smile, as if modeling for a skincare ad. "Watch me ask him," she chirped. Then, a chilling pronouncement. "He can't even say no." Their laughter, shrill and mocking, filled my silent kitchen. She typed something, held up her phone, and the video abruptly cut. I stared at my wall until its white plaster blurred to gray. Later, HQ pinged again. Leia's latest beige square. "Let it be easy." Then, a direct text, a subject line for my life. "I deserve a break. Send $8,000 for my cruise." My finger hovered over the send button. But then the oranges flashed in my mind, the hollow ring of their laughter. I put my phone down. I went to work. I reset routers. I hauled a ladder up 3 flights. I changed batteries in an exit sign. Each mundane task a shield against the rising tide. All day, that text sat on my screen, a defiant dare. Some things, I realized, won't change until you find the courage to pick a word and speak it aloud. At 6:13 p.m., staring blankly at my ceiling, I typed the smallest, most powerful word I possessed. No. I hit send. No explanation, no placating emoji, no careful softening. Then I toggled airplane mode and buried my phone beneath a stack of junk mail. At 7:02 p.m., a tentative knock. By 7:03, it had grown insistent, demanding. At 7:05, my buzzer shrieked. "Noah," Mom's voice, grainy with digital distortion, pleaded. "Pick up." I didn't. I showered, letting the water scald away the tension. When I finally switched my phone back on, the screen exploded. HQ messages. "Noah, this is alarming. Are you okay? Send the $8,000 and we'll process later. Do not make a scene. This is not the day." Then, a separate text from Leia. "Hello. 8 isn't even that much for you. Stop being dramatic. Send it." Early bird rate instant. I ignored them all. The next night, Dad's union retirement party unfolded in the church hall. Folding chairs, sheet cake, balloons bumping against acoustic tiles, a feedback-prone microphone. The absolute worst venue for a seismic family shift, which, of course, is precisely where our family's pivotal moments always occur. I brought the slideshow, the requisite HDMI cable they'd forgotten. I taped down cords. I attempted to become part of the furniture. But Leia found me. "This is an expansion for me," she declared, "and you're stuck in scarcity." Mom materialized beside her, her voice thin with outrage. "We asked for one thing, Noah. Why are you making this about you? You never push back. You're scaring me." Aunt Patrice hovered nearby, smelling of hairspray and impending doom. I looked at their faces and something clicked, hard and true, like a seatbelt fastening. "This isn't about revenge," I said, my voice shockingly steady, even to my own ears. "This is about closure." Leia scoffed. "Closure? You're closing what? Your heart? Congratulations, monk. I'm closing the revolving door where I fund your feelings," I retorted, meeting her gaze directly. "I'm closing autopays I never agreed to. I'm closing the assumption that my peace is a fair trade for your plans." Mom's face went rigid. "Family isn't a spreadsheet," she snapped. "Family isn't a subscription," I shot back. "Canceling is allowed." Leia let out a single, sharp laugh. "You won't do it," she dared, her eyes glinting. "You never do. You're addicted to being the hero. You can't even say no." That damning sentence from the letter materialized between us, an invisible third party in the room. "Watch me," I said. I then moved to cut the cake, because tonight, despite everything, was Dad's night. I hugged him, and he squeezed my shoulder, whispering, "Let's not make your mother cry. The family code for swallow it, Noah." I left before the slideshow could loop again. Back home, a third envelope lay beneath my door, identical to the others. Inside, on thicker paper, was a name at the bottom, rendered in a crisp serif font. Marin Vale. The Marin Vale, the self-proclaimed guru of beige tote bags. "Noah," it began. I sent the first two letters. "Your sister praises my work online, but utterly disregards it offline. I explicitly told her to stop using you like an ATM with a pulse." She just laughed. "He can't say no," she said. Marin's letter continued. "I'm not against Leia. I'm for you. This isn't revenge, it's a boundary." Marin. A second page contained a screenshot of Leia's private story. A poll. Will he cave? Options: immediately or after 2 guilt texts. Over 80% had tapped immediately. I sat in stunned silence. Somewhere in the building, a pipe knocked, a small, apologetic sound. Then I began to close doors.
Starting with what was unequivocally mine. I opened my banking app, freezing every card Leia had ever accessed. The gas card? Frozen. The food delivery app linked to my Visa from 2 summers ago? Deleted. The vitamin subscription perpetually auto-shipping to her address? Canceled. I removed her from my phone plan. When the carrier asked for a reason, I typed rebalancing. I changed my PIN. I moved my savings to an entirely new bank. I disabled Zelle, then set up 2-factor authentication so only my eyes would ever see the codes. Then I texted Leia a single word again because repetition, I knew, was a powerful teacher. No at 9:12 a.m. HQ exploded. "Noah, this is alarming. Are you okay? Send $8,000 and we'll process later. Do not make a scene. This is not the day." At 9:16, Leia's calls began. 27 times. I watched the number relentlessly climb, refusing to answer. I buried the phone in a drawer, silencing its insistent demand. At noon, an unknown number. A text. "We should talk. MV. Marin Vale. Public place. Your choice." I chose a coffee shop, overlit, and playing music that suffered from an identity crisis. Marin arrived in a sleek black coat and sneakers that looked built for speed. She sat, phone face down. "I'm sorry to do it like this," she said, her voice precisely as it sounded on her podcast, devoid of the practiced microphone smile. "Leia idolizes my brand, but utterly disregards my content. She quotes me to leverage money from you. She made a bet on you. She'll hate you." I said, the words tasting bitter. "She already does," Marin replied. "She told me you were jealous." "I'm not. I'm concerned. Quiet people like you collapse quietly." She slid a small envelope across the table. Inside, a printed screenshot of Leia's poll and a chilling transcript of a voice note. "Noah is obsessed with being useful. He'll pay. He always pays. My name, on that page, finally felt spelled correctly. I pick one quiet person a month, Marin explained. 3 things: mirror, proof, permission. The permission isn't mine to give. You sign it. I signed it last night, I admitted. Good, she affirmed. They escalate before they recalibrate. Expect nukes. Define nukes, I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She'll call you unfair, Marin predicted. She'll accuse you of hating women generally, and her specifically. She'll weaponize your mother's tears. She'll threaten to show up at your job, your building, your friends' places. She'll try to drag you into an essay. Don't write one. What do I say? I pressed. Say this. I'm no longer available to fund your choices. Then stop. I nodded, absorbing the script. My phone buzzed, a trap fly. Marin waited patiently as I silenced it. Unread. One more thing, Marin added. Don't perform this. No victory posts, no subtle jabs online. Boundaries don't require an audience. I'm not built for speeches, I admitted. Excellent, she said, pressing a small tin into my hand. A candle labeled closure with scent notes, lemon peel, plain paper, clean wood. Light this for yourself, Noah. Not against anyone. Back of my building, Leia stood in the foyer, her beige ledger tote clutched to her chest. She pasted on her practiced social smile. There you are, she said, her voice saccharine. You've made your little point. Send it. We can move on. I'm not sending the 8,000, I stated. Or the 2, or the 1. Her eyes narrowed. You're depriving me of an opportunity. You know I have a sensitive nervous system. You turned me into a pole. I countered, the words tasting like ash. She rolled her eyes. We were joking. You weren't, I said. You were counting. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a command. Open your phone. Right now. Send it. And we never speak of this again. I'm also taking you off my phone plan, I said, my own voice steady. It's my plan. You can get your own. Her mouth fell open. You did what? It goes off at midnight, I informed her. This is unacceptable, she shrieked, her veneer cracking. I feel unsafe. You feel unfunded, I corrected. She clutched the tote like a shield. I don't trust Marin Vale, she snapped. I'm skeptical about how the ledger operates for girls who think saying no makes them spiritual. She wrote to me, I said, watching a fissure appear across her carefully constructed composure. She what? Leia's voice was a barely audible whisper. With my name. With yours. With the poll. She would never, Leia insisted, suddenly desperate. She's a feminist. She believes in budgets. You followed the brand, I told her, and skipped the content. For a fleeting second, Leia was 12 again, that child who'd weep if her favorite cereal was gone, and I'd bike to the bodega. Then the armor slammed back into place. You're dead to me, she spat. And to Mom and to Dad. We will tell everyone what you're really like. Tell them, I said. She jabbed the elevator button 6 times, then, infuriated, took the stairs. Her frantic footsteps echoed, then silence. That night, Mom left 3 voicemails. The first was a broken sob. The second, righteous fury. The third, chillingly calm, like a seasoned hostage negotiator. If you refuse to participate in this family, she warned, we will go on without you. Consider the consequences. Dad, meanwhile, sent a thumbs-up emoji to the voicemail. Bless his inability to understand phones. Aunt Patrice texted privately. I get it, Noah, but maybe send half for optics. No. I cooked rice and an egg, added kimchi, and ate at my table, the laundromat machines below humming a lullaby. I booked a therapist for Tuesday. I placed my phone in a bowl with my keys, out of reach. I slept. The next day, in a new group chat, Mom accidentally added me to before realizing and removing me. I saw her post. Should we show up at his job? Leia's reply. Bad optics. Mom, I'll cry in his lobby. Aunt Patrice. Good optics. Tasha, Leia's friend, forwarded me the screenshots. You didn't see this from me. Also low-key, Marin is a legend. I locked my door. Saturday at 7:40 a.m., Leia knocked for exactly 8 minutes and 40 seconds. I know because I timed it, a small act of self-preservation against future exaggeration. Open up, she shrieked. We're talking like adults. I didn't. You embarrassed me, she texted through the door. I told people you were generous. Do you know how that makes me look? I didn't answer. Monday, my paycheck landed. I moved money into a category I'd always kept at zero, health, because it once felt indulgent. I bought a proper pillow, 3 pairs of matching socks. I meal prepped, not from fear, but from a newfound kindness towards my future self. I took the long way home, savoring the bread-scented air from the early rising bakery. Wednesday, Leia posted a black screen. Some people only love you when you're small. Her Venmo handle and a wish list followed. Packing cubes, magnesium gummies, a glossy suitcase perfect for a portfolio shot. People sent $5 in hearts. I didn't need to be in the comments. The cruise dates came and went. Leia later posted from a friend's yard, posed beside a kiddie pool with a ring light. Caption: create the life you want. I truly hope she does. Dad texted a picture of a bird in the garage. What kind, Run? I replied. Cute, he wrote back. We were learning a new language, built from small things, not crisis. One night, I lit Marin's candle. Lemon and paper. The room smelled like a new notebook. In my notes app for myself, not for the internet, I typed 3 lines. 1, I'm not a wallet with a face. 2, I'm allowed to be boring. 3, this isn't revenge. It's closure. The next week, Leia got her own phone plan. She texted me the number. FYI. I replied, proud of you. No response. And that was fine. True pride, I've learned, demands no screenshot. My life is quiet now, but not lonely. The group chat pings less. The world, it turns out, did not end when I finally whispered that small, potent word. My days now breathe, filled with air where panic once resided. I eat breakfast at a table, not hunched in my car. Thursdays, I attend a bike repair class, learning to fix my own brake cable. I call Malik, and we discuss movies that only cost $4.99 to rent. The thrum of the laundromat downstairs feels like a neighbor's steady pulse, no longer a warning. Mom still lobs her beige guilt bombs. I mute them. Dad forwards incomprehensible memes. I send one back. He replies, LOL. Then what's LOL? We are building something small, something workable. Leia hasn't apologized. She might never. She's even launched a new series, Budgeting for Dreamers, where she advises, track what you treasure. People clap in the comments. I don't need to be there. Occasionally, she texts logistical questions I use to handle. How do I change my insurance address? What's a deductible? If I have a bandwidth, I answer. If I don't, I don't. Once she wrote, I hate you, mid-spiral, then ignore. I ignored. 2 days later, got my own plan. I texted proud. It fit. The envelopes I keep in a drawer, not a shrine. They are evidence, a tangible reminder. Sometimes, I reread the line that started it all. He can't even say no. It now feels like an old ID card with the wrong address. Because I can say no, I can also say yes. The profound difference is that now I choose. This isn't revenge. This is closure. I declared it in a church hall, amidst balloons and a cheap microphone. It remains true in my kitchen, beside a humming fridge. Closure isn't cinematic. It's boring and sturdy. It looks like turning off autopay. It sounds like a phone that doesn't buzz for a while. My rule now is simple. I am not a budget line in someone else's plan. Love isn't a debt. Support isn't a standing order. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're a map I can read even in the dark. If someone asks me to trade my peace for their convenience, I will reach for the word that saved me and say it. No. Then I'll make dinner, water my plant, and settle into a better pillow. I won't drain myself to keep a room warm. I won't be a walking wallet. I won't let solid mean invisible. I deserve a life that fits. And this quiet, simple, chosen life, it's all mine. What about you? Have you ever had to draw a really hard line with family or friends to protect your own peace? What happened? Tell me in the comments below.